Say yeah, it feels good, don't it? Damn, it feels good to have people up on it. Say yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 28 of Community Chronicles, a DDPY community video interview series. Get down the fiddle, get down the bow, kick off your shoes, and throw them on the floor. Let's dance in the kitchen till the morning light. We're making it a Louisiana Saturday night. My guest this week, straight from the shores of Lake Pontchartrain. You know her from her Moo Moo Mondays. She's the Cajun Queen, the WuShu warrior, Wendy Ilski. Welcome, Wendy.
Oh, WuShu. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for doing this. You're awesome. We appreciate you.
Opinions do vary on that topic. But how could you not want to sit down and have a chat with Wendy if you've seen any of the stuff she's putting out there? She brings an infectious positivity to the community, and her success with the program over the last year and change is absolutely inspiring. So thank you, Wendy, for joining me. I'm going to ask you to do what we ask everybody to do, because we want to get to know a little bit more about you. Is give us just the, the Cliff Notes version of your DDPY story. How did you come to find the program, and what has it done for you since?
Well, at 308 pounds, I didn't want to live anymore. At 316 pounds, I decided I had a life worth living. And it was resurrection of Jake that saved my life. It saved my life because I was willing to just say, this is it. I was in excruciating pain. Every step I took, I screamed. My children were terrified. They thought I was going to die. Even laying in bed, I was screaming in pain. And I was just bogged down with so much. I couldn't see the light. I had given up. And that resurrection gave me a little hope. And so I said, let me look into this. And I started doing a little research because I decided I need to do something. I thought about, why am I here? What is my purpose? I cannot leave this earth without fulfilling my mission. And it feels good to do good. And I can only do good if I feel good. And I feel like my mission in life is to serve others. And so I couldn't do that at 316 pounds. And so I watched Resurrection again and again and again. I love me some Jake. He saved my life 3 times over the last 52 years in several ways. But what brought me to DDPY was that, but that brought me to Relentless, because I did not trust this process. I had a lot of questions about it. And first I wasn't interested in any type of yoga to begin with. And so once I watched Relentless, I was sold, and I started putting my research in, and I decided to put my trust and faith in Dallas, and it hasn't failed me. And it was hard. I started off in the chair workouts, and I was so embarrassed to be in that chair. I didn't want to tell anybody. I had the DVDs. And then once I moved to the Stand Force, the Stand Strong series with the chairs, was actually this time last year. I was still using those chairs. And I was so proud of myself. I was bragging. I would tell people, come see what I can do. I was like, watch me do this push-up off the chair. And so I was really at the end of my rope, and they swung in and saved me. It was just really a beautiful thing, a meeting that was supposed to happen. It was just me and this program merged, and I threw myself in it, and I just trusted the process.
That's awesome. And the paying it forward thing, is weird how that happens. Is that when this works for you, when this becomes your answer, rather than being selfish with it, you want to share that with as many people as possible.
Oh, absolutely. And people ask me all the time, what is DDPY? What does that mean? I'm like, Diamond Dallas Page. Why? Because he loves us. And you truly feel that, and you want to spread that. But for me, growing up, I grew up in a violent home. Women weren't very appreciated. And I was taught to kind of hate myself. And the things, my mother was beaten nightly. I was raped daily as a child. And it was these things that led me to a dark place in life. And this program, every time I grip my toes into the mat, I'm getting focused and balanced and the mental clarity coming through. And the more you think, because you think you're not going to be able to do it, you see these crazy poses. And oh my goodness, the first time I saw a side plank, just like in one of the little, I was like, I'm never going to do that. And now I side plank it up. And when you get those, just those small steps forward, your confidence starts building. And all of a sudden you become a winner. You go from feeling like a loser to a winner. And once your confidence keeps going and your energy levels keeps going, there's no stopping you. There's absolutely no stopping.
Yeah, gosh, it's weird. It's Hank Williams wrote my life here, because I feel the same way. It's weird how those little victories stack up, and before you know it, you're doing all the things that when you began the program, you're saying, well, I'll never be able to do that. But there's always throw a yet on the end of that.
Right. And I tell people, baby steps net huge results, because I always doubted myself, thinking I was doing something wrong. I'm like, oh, I'm doing this technique wrong, or I'm not engaging enough, or I'm not and I'm so busy. And my kids are witnessing all of this, and I'm like, am I doing this right? Look at the TV. Am I doing this right? And they're like, yeah, you're doing it. You're doing it. And the whole modify and make it your own, that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And when you have Dallas, I mean, it's so funny because my kids call him Uncle D, because when you hear Hulk it up, they're like, oh, Uncle D's here, because he's in my living room every morning with me working out. And when he's telling you, do this again tomorrow, or you're getting stronger, I believe in you. These are things that one needs to hear. And you just really feel that connection. And it's not just him, it's all of the instructors. DDPY is a very special place.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it's those little victories we talk about. Well, how are you gonna eat that elephant, right? One bite at a time. I mentioned it before in business jargon. We call that the aggregation of marginal improvements, which is just a fancy way of saying stacking up the little wins until you create a significant change. And that's the great thing about this program, is it's always, you can't do that yet. And if you keep coming back and doing it again tomorrow, you are going to get stronger every day. And eventually you will be able to do it. And you'll be looking for the next thing that you can't do yet.
Well, exactly. And, I have a fear. I don't know if Mrs. DDP, Paige, the lovely Paige McMahon, if she subscribes to the Machiavellian thought of whether it's better to be feared than loved. But she scares me. And I met her in person. And her workouts scared me so much, because here I am coming from the chair. And then when you go into the stand force, they have that synergy, that little break synergy before you get to the beginners program. And I was doing synergy, and my confidence was up. And I'm like, I'm going to skip those. Let me see this back and buns workout. Oh my God. I was like, just not ready for that. So I tried to jump into something. And I was like, oh, no way. This woman's out to get me. But she is absolutely the most inspirational person out there. And I'm doing her workouts with her as well, along with the app. And it just, you feel her encouragement, her energy, and you think about her story, and you think about all these tremendous stories out there in the community, because I get inspired each and every day. I love going on the pages and commenting and interacting with people and getting to know them and reaching out and us helping each other through, and everybody can relate. And no matter how bad you think your story is, you're like, somebody out there's got it. Like, I got that beat, and you just relate. You find out you're not the only one, and you're not alone in this. So
that is the thing. I talked about that off air before we got started, that the community, for me at least, is really what makes the difference in this program, is that you are not doing it by yourself. You may be working out alone in your living room with no one around, but there are hundreds, thousands of people out there doing the same thing you are. And no matter what your story is, you'll be able to find some common ground with somebody. There's somebody that will find some inspiration in your story. And that's why we encourage people to share.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I jumping to one thing I wanted to bring up is I think I learned that you have a really cool job. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for a living?
I work for them kids. E&E Services is my children's business that they started at the ages of 10, 12, and 14 in order to pay for their Catholic school education, because they had been in Catholic school, and I was a Catholic school teacher through their elementary years. And when it came time to high school, I'm like, all right, guys, we just can't do this anymore. And they're like, well, we're going to pay for it. We're going to get out there and earn our way. And they started. They don't charge for their services. They show up, they do the job, and they get a donation. Great. If not, it's an act of service. And they get all these crazy jobs. Well, people started calling for pet sitting. And they were too young. They couldn't drive or go into people's homes and stuff. So I was like, other people's children or other people's dogs, other people's children, other people's dogs. And I love the kids. It was the parents that were the problem. So I took the dogs, and I'm a traveling dog sitter. I go and I house sit and I dog sit, and we get into some adventures with those puppies. So that's what I do.
That's awesome.
So I work for them. It's under their umbrella, but I've taken that part from them.
Yeah, that's great. And that's so cool that you work for not only do you work for your kids, but you've been working for your kids for quite some time, and your kids are not even old. And so the fact that they went out there and said, no, we're going to pay for it, that is a rare thing these days. Because my kids say that, but what they don't seem to get is if they're paying for it, they're paying for it with my money. And it's just like, well, this imaginary allowance you don't earn, I'm going to take it out of that. Oh, when is the last time you did something to earn that money?
Try to embezzle $5 from E&E. They will catch you. They run their own marketing, their own accounting, everything. One time we got paid and the lady gave me the money, right? She just handed it to me. And so before, I was stopping for snowballs, and the kids were like, yeah, we'll have a snowball. I went to pay for it. They're like, whoa, wait. The mission is to pay for our education. You can't take a penny of that. And they never kept a penny for their pockets. They actually went out and got second jobs, like for their own little expenditures. Everything went towards education. So,
wow. I think my kids would probably just opt to not go to school. If I say, oh, yeah, you can go, just pay for it. But no, that's great. So what are your kids up to these days?
Well, I have my baby just went off to college, Tank. His name is Tank. Yes, his real name is Tank. And he just started. We moved him in Friday. And my daughter, Ellie, she goes to ULL. That's college about 2 hours away from here in Lafayette. And she moves in for her senior year. And my oldest, he had opted for a career in law enforcement. And so we all still do our thing, and E&E's still alive. I told him, I said, the only thing to get you out of E&E is death, So they still work their jobs and plus do their other things. But they're amazing. They really are.
I was going to say the same, is that I see what these kids are doing. And then when you said that they started that business themselves as little kids to pay for their own education, I'm like, holy crap, where did you find these? These kids are like something off a Hallmark special. And then,
no, I told you before. Till they learn how to change that empty toilet paper roll, I am not impressed. They can run a business, but they can't make a sandwich. Come on.
that's mama for you. Oh man, what does a kid got to do to impress mama? Just change the toilet paper. Feed yourself. And then let's tell people now, like I said, we all are familiar with your Moo Moo Monday videos, which are a blast to watch. It's been great to watch your journey through those. But we know you as WuShu, Wendy. Where does the WuShu come from?
WuShu comes from because all of my life I wanted to start studying martial arts. And I promised myself at the beginning, if I lost 100 pounds, my reward would be to start my martial arts journey, which coincides directly with DDPY. I would have never been able to do that without DDPY, and they both help each other. They both assist. They go hand in hand. But WuShu is simply Kung Fu. It's Chinese terminology that means the art of discipline. And I study Tong So Do and Tang Su Do, excuse me. And it's a derivative. It translates into way of the Chinese hand. And so it has its origins in WuShu. And so once I started my martial arts path and decided that and did my history, I started learning more about the art of WuShu, which is essentially the art of discipline. That's what martial arts means. And so I just became WuShu Wendy. And even when I walked into my first martial arts class, which I'd been affiliated with the school, my son started studying there at the age of 3. So he's been at it for almost 20 years. And it's a really fine school. And I was always sitting on the sidelines wanting to get in there, because just what they teach with loyalty and discipline and respect and honor, that's how I want to live my life. And that's all reinforced through DDPY as well. But so WuShu Wendy came in because I told them, I said, I'm going to do martial arts. And everybody thought I was being silly, that I was not going to actually do that. And somebody came up to me, my husband, he might have done up to my side, and I was like, what? And he's like, oh, look, there's WuShu Wendy. And that's how it started. So that started by them making fun of me. And so I'm proving them wrong.
That's awesome. That's great that you turned it around on them, because it is, it's a really cool thing. And it is something that takes a lot of discipline. It's not for everybody. And I think that some of, when I think of martial arts and DDPY, I think of Scott French, for example, which is somebody else who takes that discipline from martial arts as well as an infectious energy. And when he combines those things with his DDPY practice, it makes him one of the greatest instructors that a person could ever want to work out with.
And I had the privilege of working out with him live and at the summit. And you talk about a beautiful soul. And he was amazing up there, and he brought us through that workout. He led us through that workout and brought so much energy to the room. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. But, you talk about discipline, and I was absolutely out of control. I had lost, before joining the challenge, I had lost 100 pounds. And I was so scared of dipping below the 200-pound mark, because life before 200 pounds wasn't pleasant. And so I was scared. I just had this fear. And I found myself sneaking food and going back to my old ways. And the weight started creeping back up. I put like 10 pounds on in a week. And I had shot this little video of me and this sausage biscuit. And I'm crying. I'm out of control. I'm sneaking it. And that's my why in the challenge. I don't want to be out of control. And I wanted to face those mental blocks that were causing me to overeat to begin with. I wanted my freedom from the past. Those were my direct whys. And when I posted that video, Dallas himself had commented, discipline yourself to love yourself. Whoa! That was the game changer. That's when I got into martial arts. That's when I said, I'm going full-fledged into this, because it's going to take discipline. And I never thought about that. I was like, yeah, love your, you want to love everybody else. You want to put everybody else first, but you can't truly love, like my children. I'm like, they're part of me. So if I'm not loving myself, then how am I 100% loving them? So those words were a game changer right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. No, and that reminds me right there too about how you got to love yourself first. I had this old cliche. So I worked as a health and safety specialist as my career for occupational health and safety. And there's this cheesy old thing I picked up from a keynote speaker years back called his presentation was called For the Right Reasons. And what he asked you to do is close your eyes and think of the 4 most important people in your life. If something were to happen to these people, you would be absolutely devastated. Your life would be forever changed. You wouldn't know how to go on, right? So sit for a second and think up those 4 people. And for dramatic effect, I'm going to leave just a few seconds in case people are actually doing this, right? But think of 4 people. You don't know what you'd do without them tomorrow. And then at the end of that exercise, he has everybody open their eyes and he asks, how many of you put yourselves on that list? Because think of what it would do to you or to your loved ones who are on that list if something were to happen to you. And that's why you always have to be able to put you first when it comes to your health, whether that be mental, physical, whatever, because you need to be there for them.
Right. And it sounds so selfish in a way, you know? It sounds so selfish and it just goes against our grain of thinking. But that's part of the beauty of DDPY is because when he keeps telling you, you're getting stronger, you know, it's about you. And when he's telling you it's your workout, it's you. So you put yourself at the center, then you can really take care of business. You know, I was on a cane. I had our priest offer me his dead mother's walker. And the only reason I didn't take that walker was because I had to physically lift my stomach to walk with one hand, to hold myself up and hobble on the cane with the other, you know, and that's the point I was at. That's where I was. And how can you take care of anybody if you can't take care of yourself? My kids had to clip my toenails. You want that job? No. And they did it. And it's like, you know, that's a shame. And I overheard them talking one day who, you know, Tank was going to put off going to college so he could stay home and take care of me. Ellie was going to finish college so she can eventually get a job so Tank can go to college. Ethan was going to support us financially. They had it all planned out because I was immobile. You know, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get off that couch. I wouldn't get off that couch. And all that changed. All that changed. So they're happy because I wash dishes now. They don't have to.
Well, it is, yeah, I'm not just pumping you full of it, Wendy, when I say that your story is inspiring and that every time I see you pop up in my social media feeds, I get a smile on my face because I know something positive is coming. And so I think you're a great asset to the community. I know you're in the Positively Unstoppable Challenge this year, and I wish you all the best of luck with that. I think you're on a favorite. Just based on your content, your energy, your physical change, you got all of it, right? You're living the gimmick. You're doing the thing. You're trying to pay it forward.
Thank you for saying so. But I tell you, it is. I'm just a mirror. I represent the community. I consider myself a DDPY ambassador. I think anybody in this program is a DDPY ambassador. Anybody wears the brand. Oh my God, that's all I see. You see me as DDPY because I believe in the product. I believe in the community. I believe in those people because they believed in me. And it's really an exchange. That's all it is. And I get more pumped and a high. I get a DDPY high. And I can't explain that to people. I'm like, you just got to experience it. Mm-hmm. And it is the positivity coming out because you do have to be the good and you do have to do good for others. And people are like, well, you know, you're the most giving person. And I'm like, no, I'm the most selfish person out there. I do this because I feel good doing it, you know? And so that's what it's about. And when I reach so many people, I have people from all over the world contacting me and that I've made friends with through social media. And we're helping each other along and you get to know them. And, you know, you put yourself out there, you attract the right people when you put yourself out there in a positive light. And so we all feed off one another. It's beautiful.
It is. It's awesome. This is so awesome. We got to save something for when the next person snags you up for an interview. So what do you say we roll into some rapid fire questions, Wendy?
I'm ready. Let's hit it.
All right. So the way this works, I just fire them off. You give me the first response that comes to mind. Okay. There is no
scary. Watch out.
Oh, nah, there's no wrong answers here. All right. Let's start with what is your favorite DDP quote?
Oh, man. I have to go back to that discipline yourself to love yourself because that changed my life. That changed my life.
You mentioned earlier, the Synergy 40 workout, and that was one of my early favorites. And my favorite DDP quote to this day is in that workout. It's later on, and he's going back into a bow and arrow, and he says, I'm not even engaging right now because my heart rate's already too high. I pull that out every time I get into an argument with the wife. Stops her dead in her tracks. She just walks away. But what is the last song that you sang?
A Buddy Holly song. All of my love, all of my kissing.
Beautiful. What's the last gift you received?
Actually, today people are tired of seeing me in the circus tent clothes. Somebody dropped off 3 new shirts and 3 new pairs of shorts right there at my doorstep. So that was
awesome.
just not that long ago.
Great. What is your favorite smell?
Smell? Did you say?
Yes, your smell.
Sweat.
Ooh. Then what's your least favorite smell?
Vanilla cookies.
Who inspires you?
Oh my goodness. Overall, I have several people that inspire me, but in the world, I have to go with Muhammad Ali, who I met in public. I met him out in public when I was a little girl, who gave us the advice. My brother and I were, my brother was watching me. My mother had to go to the hospital. It was one of those beating nights. And we had loaded up in the car, and I was barefooted. We had to escape. I didn't have time. And so we're walking around the streets of New Orleans, and I'm barefooted, and the pavement's hot. And so we just went into this. He brought me to this hotel lobby. And all of a sudden, here comes Muhammad Ali. And my brother just went, "The champ is here." And he looked over and he pointed at us and he brought us to us. And he asked my brother, he says, "You want to be heavyweight champion of the world?" And he said, "No, sir, I just want to be champion of my world." And he pulled me close to him. And he says, "Well, to be a champion, surround yourselves with champions and create a world where champions are going to be." And then he handed us a $50 bill, which in 1976 was like $1 million, and said, "Go buy your sister some shoes." And so he bought us some shoes that day. But Muhammad Ali's always been a great inspiration for me. Martin Luther King, and my actual start date for the challenge was Martin Luther King Day. And the headline he said, "Let freedom ring." And through my videos, I don't know if you've ever seen the day WuShu declares her independence on the July 4th, where I talk about my freedom. Mm-hmm. And so all that resonates with me. But within the community, I got to go with El Capitan. Oh my goodness. Mr. Josh, he is amazing. And he inspires me every day. My boy Myron is out there running the Spartan race today. He and I are in constant communication. And there's just so many. Aaron and his story. And just, and the fact that the past champs make themselves available to you, Stephanie, Candy, Brian, all these people right there at your fingertips. If you need help, they're there and they respond like that. But yeah, I got to stick with the captain. We all fly a little higher on his cape for sure.
What? Oh, I can't read my own handwriting here. What's your favorite Cajun dish?
Oh, well, I got to go with the gumbo. I love the gumbo, the jambalaya, the red beans. That's typical. I love it all. Mix that with some Southern flair and a little soul food, and holy cow, you got 316 pounds on your head.
You got me drooling over here. What is the most surprising non-scale victory you've experienced?
Touching my toes. And I did it by accident. I was just doing one of those stretches. And oh my God, when I touched my toes and my knees weren't bent, I ran out the front door and just screamed it at midnight. "Guess what? I can touch my toes." And that was just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What is the worst advice you've ever received?
Give up. Give up. I actually had somebody tell me that. Just give up.
Well, show that guy. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Don't give up.
Hey, how about it?
I got to go back to that quote. Discipline yourself to love yourself. It's all about eating less and moving more and loving yourself. And that's the best advice I ever got. And how you speak to yourself, and the energy you create. It's all about that. The story you tell yourself. And so positivity rules.
It does indeed. So you survived the rapid fire round. And the next thing, you already did this a little bit, We called out some really cool members of the DDPY community who are just great bastions of positivity. But if you want to pick another one or two people to single out and give a shout out to someone who just deserves a little, hey, check out this guy, let us know, or gal, let us know who that would be and a little bit of why.
You know, Connie Miller, queen of the Roundhouse, Mrs. Stretch, I call her. She is so positive, and she's always commenting good things on everybody's posts. And then she had made the statement that she wasn't going to submit her video. And I was like, oh my goodness, Connie, submit, because her goal was flexibility. And she achieved it. She achieved it and then some. But she gets me in trouble because I find myself trying to throw up a roundhouse everywhere I go in her honor. So my thing is planking, though. I want an alligator plank with an alligator. So we're going to get there. But definitely a wooden one, not a real one. But Connie, I think she's a huge source of inspiration for a lot of people. And another person who people may not know is Wendy Allen. Wendy Allen is in a wheelchair right now and suffers with AFib. But she sits there and will rock her feet back and forth in the calf raiser challenge, for example. And we connected because I was told I needed a double knee replacement. And now I don't have any pain and I can get down and squat and all these wonderful things. And she had read that and we contacted and connected. And every day she tries and she's getting a little bit of motion back and she just doesn't give up. And no matter where she's at, she's been in the hospital, she's always commenting on posts and being positive. And once you have that positive energy going, it's going to be within you and she's going to take major steps. So I'm sure Wendy Allen has flown under the radar. She's just somebody out there watching and observing and doing those little tiny steps. She's at the beginning of her journey, but she's amazing as well. But, and one more thing, I got to go back. You said, who inspires you? Way back when, I know I'm taking all your time. Look at here. I got to give a shout out to my man, Jake. This is a squirt head from like 1989. I've had a house burned down. I've had a house blown away. I've had a bank take a house. I have broken into my own house, got this squirt head out. It has been with me and my kids. I've had this for 30-something years. But I got to tell you, Jake is a beautiful, brave soul who inspires me and who's helped me to start this journey. But so many people out there in that community. And, we are our own heroes. We really are. But there's heroes out there everywhere you look. Just read their stories, comment on their stories, reach out, connect with them. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
It is. Well, awesome. That's great. It's just one last thing, Wendy, that we do to wrap this show up, and that's give us a bang to shut her down.
Oh, yeah, because I've been a diamond in the rough. I've been polishing myself. So absolutely. Bang!
All right. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget to do this tomorrow.
No need for money, got my happiness today, I'm feeling great. And if you smile all the time, then your face gon' turn that way. Yeah, it feels good, don't it? Damn, it feels good to have people up on and say yeah.